So Nathan, you know I'm going to the unveiling of the new Corvette at the end of this week.
Hell yeah.
And I've been doing a lot of thinking about sports cars, and I gotta say, I'm afraid they're dead.
You are so wrong.
I wish I was wrong, but I have this feeling, and I think the evidence backs it up, that when me and you were young, right, the pinnacle of our car dreams was always a sports car, right?
Well, yeah.
The thing on the wall, the poster was a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, right? Yeah. I think now that the new sports car is either one of three things. The electric car, so for instance, the BMW 3 Series has been replaced as the king of the hill by the Tesla Model 3. Yeah. Or the pickup truck. So the guys who would have dreamt of having sports cars when we were young, you know, now are lusting after pickup trucks, and the more off-road worthy, the better.
Yeah, there are a lot of people moving over to trucks. I'll agree.
Or they're just looking at off-roaders, things like the 4Runner, things like the Jeep, right? Cars that can go off-road or are designed to go off-road, and these are the new sports cars because right now, none of the sports cars are really selling all that well.
It is a shrinking segment, but I think it's a more specialized segment. Let me put it to you this way.
Okay.
Toyota Supra.
Convince me. I want to be convinced.
Okay, Toyota Supra.
Yes.
BMW Z4.
Yes. Both now much hated because of the fact that they had to share development costs because there wasn't enough money in the market to actually have both manufacturers develop independent cars.
Acura NSX.
Not selling.
Ford Mustang.
Muscle car.
Muscle car, but it's also a sports car. The levels of sophistication with muscle cars has gone up to sports car levels.
I'll give you that, especially the GT350.
Oh, yeah.
And the upcoming GT500, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, to a lesser extent, I would say the Challenger, because, yes, okay, it's a muscle car, but, I mean, if you look at the Red Eye and, you know, the Hellcat and all that, once again, the numbers are...
I fear you're making my point again, because the one that's the most sports car-y of that entire bunch, of course, is the Camaro, right? If you were to put them on a scale, the Camaro is over here, sports car, and the Hellcat is over here, muscle car. And yet the Camaro now potentially may be going away. There are rumors.
Rumors, they're not confirmed yet. But you also have, I mean, just look at the JDM vehicles out there as well. I mean, there's plenty of vehicles worldwide that are selling.
What's left? It's JDM.
What are you talking about? You got the GTR is still being built, and
you see how much it costs now? Did you see? It's over 200. I think Nissan actually decided that they don't want to sell any GTRs.
they're at the very end, finally, of the life cycle of the R35, and the R36 is coming really, really soon, and hopefully that'll be an awesome car. And there's lots of rumors about it, and there are rumors that Mitsubishi is getting back into the sports car game, and they're going to be building a new Evo. And we know for a fact that there are very fast vehicles built by Honda. Tell me something.
Hold on here. You know, I said this tongue-in-cheek. I said that Nissan doesn't want to sell any GTRs, but I actually mean it, because think about this, right? Every other car where it's been out for 10 years, let's think of like the Dodge Journey, right?
Well, you can't...
The Nissan Frontier, right? Because you've paid for the tooling of that vehicle, it gets cheaper. And that's the model that manufacturers follow. As the car gets older, it gets cheaper because it's cheaper to manufacture.
Until public demand dwindles, and then you build the new one.
But somehow, Nissan has decided that as the car gets cheaper, they're going to make it more expensive, cheaper to manufacture. I really think they don't want to sell the car. That's the only rationale. Why would they make a used GTR now? It's like $50K. Why would you spend $200 for a new one?
Because you're wrong again. And the GTR is partially hand-built. And the hand-built aspect of that isn't something that you get cheaper down the line. It's still a very expensive process.
You think the dude who's building it gets better at it over time?
No, he doesn't, because it's a hand-built thing.
Like once upon a time, it took him like 8 hours to put that engine together, and now he's like, hey, I can knock this out in 4 hours.
Going back to the fact that, yes, okay, Nissan is making it really expensive, and I think that's because it's ending its life cycle, and so it's almost like a collector's thing. And yes, they're not selling a lot of them. However, there is a push for sports cars in the future. It's just a slightly more condensed market. And yeah, the numbers aren't selling quite where they were, but they still are building the BMW M3 and M5. And those are bona fide sports cars. And they still are building the RSs, and they still are building the S's.
But they're not being sold here.
not as much once demand.
Not at all.
Well, in some cases, not at all. In some cases, they are.
STs are gone, except for now the ST Ford is, of course, the Edge and the Explorer.
Yes, I know, and those aren't sports cars.
But the Fiesta and the Focus are gone.
Yes, they pulled that out of the market, and that is a shame. However, keep in mind...
I hate making my point. I really hate this.
You're not making a point.
I love sports cars.
Yeah, but I mean, the Mustang is still being built, and the Mustang is still being sold here. And there's even a rumor that they're thinking about a four-door version of the Mustang or something based on that platform.
Once again, you're making my point. What's the new Mach 1? It's going to be an electric car.
Well, supposedly.
And that was a sports car. They took the sports car and made it an electric car.
The Ford GT is supposed to come back. They're actually building another version of it, a more expensive one. And so that's still being built. So it's not gone. It's just a condensed market. And once again, even though electricity, some people think, oh, well, that's killing a sports car. No, it can be a sports car. An electric sports car does exist, right?
There is the Tesla Roadster coming.
Right.
With rockets. All right, I'll give you that. But it's an electric sports car. It's not a traditional sports car. But
that's a different argument right there.
I kind of feel with the Corvette, the new mid-engine Corvette that's coming, that, by the way, you guys will have to come back, I hope, Thursday to have a video.
Yes.
Yeah, on TFLnow. We're going to get that out there as soon as possible. I think with that and the new Mustang GT500 coming, that's like the last gasp of the old muscle car, sports cars.
And I think it's a reinvigorated market. And once the sales...
even you don't believe that.
Partially do. And I truly do believe that muscle cars have gone to a place now to where they're more like sports cars. And that's a good thing for you because that means they're more affordable. One of the problems with sports cars is they're really expensive. There are great cars out there too, like the Honda Civic Type R. That's a sports car, folks. That is a badass little sports car.
Well,
it's ridiculous, but it's a badass, awesome, fun little sports car.
You just put your finger on it, Nathan. You just put your finger on it. The sports car is your dad's car. That's the problem, right? Me and you are dads now, so the youngsters out there, our kids, don't want the same stuff. It's just not cool to want the same stuff we did.
Well, they do, but they don't quite realize what they're getting in many cases. So when you go out and buy a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, in many cases you're an influencer, bastards, who are able to go out there and buy something that they don't quite understand has heritage and all that other stuff. And that is a big argument. That's why manual transmissions are vanishing because people don't like to feel the car anymore.
Oh gosh, you're making my point because the manual transmission sports car go together like peanut butter and jelly, and that's also disappearing.
Well, not entirely. Once again, there are a lot of cars out there that still have them. Fortunately, once again, Civic Type R does have it, which is awesome. And if my kids were old enough to drive, which one of them almost is, they would love that car.
Oh, and the other thing that's so frustrating is like, what's the best-selling Bentley? It's the Bentayga. What's the best-selling Jaguar? It's the F-Pace, right? It's the crossover. It's not the sporty one.
Crossovers are hurting that market, but they're hurting all different types of markets as well. Bottom line, folks, and I know you agree with me, even though the market has condensed, it's still there and it's vibrant because they're building new sports cars.
Yeah, and the ones that are there aren't selling. I mean, look at the Toyota 86. It's just not selling.
Yeah,
the BRZ's not selling.
They sold quite a few, though. Altogether, you have to look at cumulative sales, and they've managed to sell quite a few of them over time. And
if you take a big enough period.
If they dropped a turbo in those damn things, they would have sold a lot more.
I'll give you that.
And the WRX, that is still selling very, very well, and the STI is still selling well.
What happened to that whole category? There's nothing left but an ancient STI. The Evo is gone, right? The RS is gone. Come back. All those really cool World Rally Championship cars are gone.
Look, not everybody wants to buy those types of cars, and they also want better mileage, or they want to be, driving your little electric cars.
Yeah,
so
I think the shine's come off the apple, and for sports cars, and there's good reason too, because look, when you can buy a Model 3 that does 0 to 60 in right around 3 seconds, that keeps up. This is like a $65,000 car now that will keep up or beat a Lamborghini, right? In a 0 to 60, it won't beat it around a track, obviously, right? It won't beat it like in like raw power and finesse and
awesomeness.
But it will beat them in a straight line, which is where most people actually test performance of cars. When you pull up to that stoplight, if you're in a Model 3 versus, let's pick an
M3.
Yeah, pick the supercar or sports car of your dreams. The Model 3 will beat it.
Okay, we're going up against the Hellcat now.
I have to get this thing to hook up. Tommy just has to floor it.
He has a hard time gripping, I know that for sure.
And go!
Off like a scolded cat. that?
Yes. Yes, it will.
And that's I think the driving force, because at the end of the day, that's how people actually kind of determine whose car is, you know what.
You know what's really fortunate is that there's a lot of sports cars out there that are really good looking and still pull in passion, that people look at and go, oh, well, when I'm walking away, I'm still going to turn around and look at that car.
I agree.
And that's really important. And they still exist. So,
Nathan, I really hope that new Corvette, the mid-engine Corvette, is a stunner. I want them to pull the wraps out that thing, and I want people to gasp.
yes.
You know, and I want that thing to set the Nürburgring ring time, and I want that thing to be the car that all of us have put on our walls, and the next generation will as well. So I hope it does, but I'm just, I'm a pragmatist. And
All right, guys. So what do you think? I mean, Roman's obviously wrong, but the point is that what do you guys think? Do you think the sports car is dead or dying? I think it's going through a change, but I think it's still there, and I think that the community is changing, but it has been somewhat revitalized. So let us know in your comments below.
yeah, and don't forget to come back at the end of the week when we actually have the first video of the new mid-engine Corvette. I can't wait to take a look at that thing. I think it's going to be, we won't get to drive it, but we will get to finally see it.
Yes.
All right, see you guys next time. Ciao.
Bye-bye.